let's get practical now. And Steve, you've brought up continuous testing, which is very much something that I think is the future. It's not the future; it is now. I think we are now in a point where I'm assuming in the UK, like here, you have to file your taxes every year. Most people are in an annual cycle for a lot of things. And I think pen testing has been for a very long time in an annual cycle bucket. I think that that's changing. And I'm trying to think of a way to express to MSPs out there listening to this who already have that a fairly complete or sophisticated tech stack of security and monitoring, perhaps some vulnerability scanning. They're looking at penetration testing now. And when we throw in the word continuous testing, I think of Jacques Clouseau, Peter Sellers, or having Cato always trying to attack him at the worst opportunity. And the gag is he's always on guard because he never knows when he's going to be attacked.
Mm.
Are we talking about that for continuous pen testing? That you're just going to be always waiting in the shadows to surprise the MSP? Or how do you express that?
Yeah, I think from our perspective, there's a bit of a blended approach. We've mentioned about the scanning solutions that give you those regular touch points, but we know they're quite noisy. We know they only work on the signatures that they know about. So the pen testing side, absolutely, historically, it's those annual cycles. In our view, you should be making that more continuous. You almost want some time set aside that you buy into, if you like, a set of consultancy days or hours. Now is the way we're seeing this, not just days, and putting those down based on, what's the vulnerability solutions identifying. Let's go and deep dive that because we've seen something there and we think there could be more behind it. So it's kind of validating that and then investigating further and using some pen testing hours to look into that, potentially help you identify a potential concern that maybe filters up to the top and gets addressed. So it's hard to pull away from those annual cycles because people, they're driven that way by compliance and insurance, for example, which say, have you had your annual pen test? So they're being asked those questions. And the way we would like to see it is those organizations that are those frameworks, if you like, move to a more continuous way of measuring. Because if you're going to ask, has the MSP had an annual test, that's the way they're going to behave. Because that's obviously something that's important to them to have those accreditations in place. Quite often they need them in order to win client contracts. So we see that will evolve over time. But right now for us, continuous testing, if you really want to see it, it is using that time spread throughout the year to investigate, almost like your Cato analogy. If you know that someone's lurking in the shadows and could strike at any point, then you need to have constant security and constant defense in place, and all these contracts that the MSPs are selling through to their clients are always on pretty much. So regular knocking on the door is what's needed. So that's kind of the way we see it. There's a whole load more technical side of things we could get into. More recently, we've been working with clients around web applications. That seems to be a key area for us. There's a lot of sensitive data in some of these applications, or they're mission critical for one reason or another. And doing some continuous testing against those targeted applications is becoming more popular because they change, they release new software updates. And so being baked into that software development lifecycle is becoming more and more important. So by the time the code's released, it's already been checked. It's already secure, or at least as secure as it can be. So that's kind of the way we're seeing it moving.